Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Common Good Podcast. Like Pagitt here. Outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and squirreled away somewhere outside of Fayetteville, Arkansas. Robb Ryerse, running for Congress, political director of Common Good, and he is, of course, the co-host of the Common Good Podcast.
And now officially,
Hey, Robert.
the Democratic nominee for Congress in Arkansas's 3rd Congressional District. It's very difficult to lose a race when you are running unopposed.
Well, I don't know. People have done it. Democrats have pulled that trick before somehow. I don't know how they disqualified themselves.
The Cleveland Browns could figure out a way to lose this race.
Ready have slipped between the cup and the lip. All right. Hey, a lot happening. We're going to talk about all the lies Donald Trump tells, and I have a little theory I want to run by all of us. But let's do our niceties. I feel like last week we jumped right in. Yeah, last week we just jumped right in, and it was aggressive.
Well, Doug, I've noticed that my chair squeaks. You hear this?
I do hear it.
So I gotta get some WD-40 and take care of my chair.
Okay, as we chatted earlier, two things. One, WD-40 is a great chemical for certain purposes. We are of a generation, Rob, where we have been told that it basically functions as something to make metal parts move easier.
Yes.
That's not what it does, come to find out.
What?
Grease is what you're talking about. So I bought 2 cans of WD-40 just yesterday because I was out at my house, and my neighbor across the street, John, didn't have any at his house. And I don't know how that's possible. I have bought, I don't know, in my lifetime, 30, 50 cans of WD-40, I'm guessing. I mean, a number that's just really high, at least as high as the number of teeth I've lost in my life.
Mm-hmm. Is it an annual purchase? Does a can last you a year?
Here's what I'm getting at. I never remember squeezing a can of WD-40 and having it be empty. Never once. I've never thrown away an empty can. So where did they all go? Why are there not some in my garage? Why are there? I don't know. They've sort of disappeared. So now when you go to buy WD-40, there's a little rack of them, at the Home Depot or at the Lowe's or at the Menards.
Yeah. Well, you save big money at Menards.
Oh, you do. Yeah. And you sing the song the minute you walk in. It just is. It's a cruelty.
Hate it. Haven't lived near a Menards in years, and that song lives rent-free in my head.
And if people don't know what we're talking about with Menards, just go onto YouTube here and look up Menards.
No, don't. It's one of the world's worst jingles.
And catchy like COVID. Is that a phrase yet? Can we use that? All right. So WD-40 is designed to remove rust and to remove liquid. It dries and it loosens rust. It breaks away the rust and then it dries things out because sometimes you'll get squeak from too much moisture. What you want is grease. And now WD-40 sells one called White Lightning, which is going to put a lubricant on your squeaky chair.
This is shocking news.
I know.
I mean, there have been moments in my life where like the glass is shattered. Like when the day in my late 40s when I realized that a pony is not a baby horse, like a puppy is a baby dog. It was just mind-boggling. The day that you revealed that the percentage of rain has nothing to do with the chance of rain, but has to do with the area that will actually get rain. And now this.
And now WD-40. Hey, I hear that Jim was saying that there's an echo coming from my mic. I'm hoping that's fixed. Jim, will you let me know?
He says Rob has an echo. I have an echo.
Will you just double check? I changed the settings, so I'm hoping things are good. So what you want is grease or oil.
Okay.
This is why
what I'm going to do is go get the can of WD-40 that's down in the basement or down in the garage and spray it in there. The problem will just come back. This is why when you look on your can of WD-40, it like shows you how to loosen a bolt, a rusted on bolt, because that's what it's great for. I went to grab it out of my garage, not for my squeaky chair,
but because I had some rust on a little tool and I wanted to spray it on there to remove the rust. So anyway, little tip.
And then you went over
Buy
to your buddy's
grease,
house
buy
and he
oil.
didn't have any either.
Yeah.
And so when you went to Menards, you bought a can for him too. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then set it outside of his garage door, and then he saw it and had a big smile on his face. It's just
that's fantastic.
We felt like capable adults again.
Oh, it's one of those things that like you have it. It's just there.
Yeah,
you don't know. You don't
totally.
You don't know.
There's just things you don't run out of. You don't run out of toilet paper. You somehow shouldn't run out of peanut butter. And you keep some WD-40
listen, Doug,
always around. There's just, you buy it, you could never, in a lifetime, a person could never use a full can of WD-40. Why have I bought so many cans, and where are they?
Yeah, seriously. Doug, you mentioned peanut butter, and it reminded me that when you and I were last together, you fixed a breakfast delicacy that I introduced my wife Vanessa to this very week. And made and it went over big. Went over big. Toast, with peanut butter and jelly, with a fried egg on top.
Eaten open face with a knife and a fork.
Oh, so good.
I had it this morning.
No need for the knife. Just fork it up.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, any way you get that thing in your
delicious.
mouth, I think you're going to love it.
Delicious.
It's really a sandwich of breakfast delicacy. I encourage all of you, give it a try. Just a piece of toast, peanut butter. I prefer a little blueberry jelly. Shelly did the grocery shopping this week, and she got mixed berry. I looked at it and made just a simple comment. Mixed berry will probably be fine, I said, as I stuck it in the refrigerator.
We're a raspberry jelly family.
Yeah, and raspberry's great. But I will tell you, if you ever get a treat to get a really good blueberry jam, and you put that onto the breakfast delicacy, there's something about the tartness of the blueberry.
Yeah, it really went over well. This morning it was stuffed scrambled eggs with spinach, bacon, cheese, and a little hot garlic hot sauce on top.
Holy moly!
Yeah, it's good.
You're like doing all that?
Yeah.
Cooking?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good for you. Congratulations. I basically would go as far as a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with an egg on top. That's pretty much that's what I consider a delicacy. Talk about low rent breakfast. But thanks for fixing your squeaking chair. And here's why: because I rarely comment on YouTube videos, but when people put out YouTube videos and they have a squeaky chair or stool, I am like I'm like an Epstein file hunter. I am just all over that thing. Like, honestly, fix the squeak in your chair.
Well,
there's one guitar channel I follow. I'm about ready to send them 2 stools. I like their channel so much. I cannot stand the squeak. I've begged them for a year. They don't care. They even respond to my comments. No, like, good. Yeah, we'll get on it. And I'm like, okay, the stools are on the way. It's got me motivated.
Are you gonna send them stools, or are you gonna send them WD-40?
No, I'm gonna send them new stools. I'm not just gonna send them a can of Grease Lightning. I could.
Look, I mean, apparently you're just fixing everyone. Why aren't you sending me a new stool?
I don't know. I think because of Trump's unbelievable lies and destruction of what was once a great nation, it just has me on hypervigilance, running around trying to fix things that I can fix. Right?
Yes.
I don't know. The world's a mess. Let me just obsess about something I can control because
my wife said this week that it seems like none of the men in the Epstein files are going to be punished. They're all going to get away with it, with maybe the exception of Prince Andrew. They're all going to get away with it. And so none of the men in her life are going to get away with anything. and which is totally understandable. And so it's that same thing that you just described. Like, cannot fix this Donald Trump thing. So, like, run around trying to fix all the other problems.
God, stop a squeaky stool. Could you just, let the squeaky stool get the grease.
I might squeak a couple more times today. I will get the I could go get the WD-40 right now, and we could make this into a how-to YouTube channel. But
look, in your garage or your studio or your shipping area there for the Etsy store, whatever you got going on there, you probably have a little can of oil. You know, the little ones that feel like your grandpa had them, with the red top, the little screw off top, and the little point. You put just a drop or two of that oil on there, it's going to last you a lifetime.
Yeah, but you don't get the spray sensation of I mean, it's very exciting to, especially with that long red hose, that thin red hose that you can get in there and.
Okay, spray that on, and then when that dries and it's gotten rid of the moisture, then put the oil on. Okay, because that's what you want. You want oil. All right, let's see what Alex is having. Alex is having a juicy, cold, sweet mandarin orange.
Oh,
excellent. All right, good. Hey, let's get down to business. Rob, I have a theory that
Speaking of oranges.
And not sweet and not juicy, but definitely cold.
Speaking of squeaky things,
the big orange man. Here's my theory. After having watched him a lot in the last couple of weeks, and then it's going to frame up the rest of what we can talk about. Donald Trump lies to the American people on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And I am believing now more than ever. It's because he first lies to himself about all those things. He is telling himself, by all the people around him and his own, as he says, his own mind, such unbelievable nonsense that he is not, in his mind, lying to us. He is telling us what he believes, and he believes lies. And I think this ultimately goes back to what the 2020 election. I think this is the Epstein files. I think this is the Monica or the Stormy Daniels thing. I think he's lying about Iran. I think he is just utterly convincing himself on a regular basis all the nonsense he's telling the rest of us. And that, friends, is more terrifying than anything else I can imagine.
Okay. So what does it take to lie to yourself? Is there a lack of self-awareness that allows you to deceive yourself because you cannot perceive the truth? Is it a blinding ambition that causes you not to see things that could disprove the lies you're telling to yourself? I mean, what's the pathology behind that?
Yeah. I would imagine self-deception is part of the narcissistic disorder I think this guy suffers under. Grandiose belief narratives. Look, all of us have a consciousness requires the ability to lie to yourself. If not, you would be, if you were faced with the sheer threat to life on a daily basis, you couldn't drive a car. You couldn't drink a liquid given to you by a stranger. You couldn't wake up in the day with the knowledge that an aneurysm could be awaiting you. Your own pending death would be staring you in the face. So we tell ourselves a number of things that are not quite all lies, but it's going to be okays. And it is. And then when that rule is broken and something terrible happens, a diagnosis or an accident or an aneurysm or a relationship break, then we're smacked with the reality of it. And then we come to terms and then we move on again, trying to make sense out of life. So there's some ability that humans have to, make our way.
As a coping mechanism, as a survival mechanism, and like so many other aspects of human consciousness and human development, when something becomes exaggerated, overused, misused, it becomes a real problem.
Yeah.
So that same tendency that exists in all of us in a very harmless way is overgrown in someone like Donald Trump.
Yeah, I think, I'm not a psychologist or anything, but I do play one on a podcast. think what we describe as pathologies, psychological pathologies, is when something that's a part of our normal survival coping mechanisms life becomes overextended, exaggerated, and to a point that is dangerous, right? So, sort of the way cancer in cells are cells that are multiplying too quickly. So the normal thing is being done in a way that now has reached a level that it's not healthy. That's what's going on with Donald Trump. We're going to watch a couple of clips, him talking about the Iran war. And this is a man who has convinced himself that what he is saying is actually true. And the problem then is that we're not dealing with a normal leader or a normal president or political leader who we know isn't going to tell us everything, because it wouldn't be appropriate to tell us everything they know, because some things need to be kept out of the public. And sometimes they tell us things we should know, and they try to say it in a way that makes them look better or somebody else look worse. But they know what they're doing. And we operate in a world where we know that they know if they're going to be telling us the truth or if they're lying to us. But with Donald Trump and his followers, many of them don't know that he's lying. And he doesn't know he's lying. He has convinced himself that thing is true.
Yeah. And I think, Alex makes the point in the comments that he first he nurtured into this frame of mind. And early on, he was attracted to the power of positive thinking.
Yep.
He propagandized himself with self-talk. He brainwashed himself. And I think I think that's a really astute observation, that there is an element of he's saying what he wants to be true.
He absolutely comes from, he has said it. It's in his own biography, the Norman Vincent Peale thing. He also loves being around the Christian faith people, the name it and claim it crowd. He's just in a secular version of the name it and claim it, which is or the people who talk about, speak your future into reality, don't say anything negative. He 100% comes from that world, where he's like, you just get rid of all the negative, you only say the thing you want, and you manifest it. He's like he's got his own Trump version of manifest destiny, where he's just making shit up and saying it to all the rest of us. And that causes the press, who still doesn't know how to respond to a guy who's saying things directly opposite, as we'll see in these clips, directly opposite at the end of the sentence of what he says at the beginning of the sentence. So it's the kind of delusional talk that, you're just like, how do you, because you have to defer to the position the American people, and again, the majority of voters on and before Election Day 2024 selected this man after his lengthy job interview for the job. The American people said, we will still take the liar.
Yeah.
We have to come to grips with that. All right. Can I just show you a couple of these clips?
Yeah. Oh, let's do it.
I didn't watch the whole speech yesterday, but I did watch another podcast that had these clips in it. So I pulled the clips from there because I couldn't stand. He talked 90 minutes about the Iran war. And at the end of the 90 minutes, commentators that I watch who watched it said, I don't know anything more about our plan in Iran than I did at the start of this after the president of the United States talked for 90 minutes about it. This is a war action we are in. All right, so here's there are going to be two clips. They're only 20, 25 seconds, but if you need to mute your computer for your emotional health, I get it. All right, here we go.
Took a little excursion because we felt we had to do that to get rid of some evil. And I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion. Short-term.
Short-term, he says.
Short-term. We had leaders, and they're gone. Then we had new leaders, and they're gone. And now nobody has any idea who the people are that are going to be the head of the country. We've already won in many ways, but we haven't won enough.
We've already won in many ways, but we haven't won enough. Now we don't even know who the leaders are.
Yes, we do. It's Khomeini's son.
Let me ask you this, Rob. Would a normal president of the United States think that a hostile nation for whom we're unaware of who the leaders are is a good thing and is a thing you would laugh about and is a thing that you would try to create. You would destabilize a major nation in the Middle East so you don't know who the leaders are.
Yeah.
What kind of a plan in anyone's mind would say, you know what our actions against another nation in the world would be? To decapitate their leadership to the point that we have no idea who's in charge. Isn't that great? We killed their leaders and then we killed the next leaders and now no one knows.
Yeah.
Even though the country of Iran says, no, we have a whole secession process. And the more radical son of the guy you killed is that guy. And you think that guy's going to negotiate with the United States after you killed his father, you killed the new leader's wife, and you killed the new leader's son. And now you're like, let's see how this goes. This man's inability to know, somehow he thinks it is a good thing to have an Iran without leadership. No one around him would be saying to him, sir, you know what would be really great is to have a hostile nation next to Israel who we don't know who the leaders are.
Doug, he said,
and we've already won so much, but we could still win some more.
He said also in this that take a little diversion.
Yeah.
Like, this is invading Iran, bombing Iran, is like, you know, going a little bit out of your way so you can go to Buc-ee's while you're on a road trip. I'm old enough to remember the phrase axis of evil, in which we had terminology to identify the biggest threats to our country. I'm old enough to remember that Iran was in the axis of evil.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember that we've been talking about how Iran is and could become a nuclear threat.
Yeah.
Working to develop nuclear weapons. I'm old enough to remember politicians of all stripes from all sides of the aisle talk about how Iran is the biggest state sponsor of terrorism in the world.
Yeah.
If you were to create a list of who the biggest threats to the United States are, Iran would be a first-round pick, very high in the draft.
Okay.
Like if someone said, "Okay, I'm taking Russia," you go, "Okay, Russia with the first pick. That makes sense. I can see it. Somebody goes, "Well, you know, I'm thinking China, but I'm gonna go a little off the board here. I'm taking Iran number 2." You go, "Okay, all right, bold. I like it." But you wouldn't argue with it.
Yeah, right.
You don't take a diversion to deal with one of our nation's biggest enemies, and I don't like using that word, but one of the largest threats to our national security and to our country. It's not a trip to Buc-ee's.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not a little diversion.
Yes.
It's
and then we'll get back to whatever else he said.
Over South America, one country at a time. We got Venezuela, Cuba's next, but man, we're gonna take a little diversion. We're gonna take a little. We're gonna take the scenic route that leads us through Iran.
Yeah. Little diversion.
Utterly ridiculous.
Here he is again. Now he has a press conference.
How unserious he is.
Unserious he is.
Unable to actually provide leadership in times of crisis.
Yeah. And imagine this same guy in chosen wars here, which we'll talk about in a moment, chosen military actions, can't figure out what we're doing. Imagine when it comes to our shores without our choosing, like when it was COVID or another world crisis.
9/11.
This is the same guy. All right, now here he is at a press conference talking about the comments that he just gave to a bunch of people, again, at his golf resort. This is a man who wore a baseball hat to the solemn receiving of the bodies of those who died because of his Iran war. Wore a baseball hat, hawking his own material. Can you believe that? The MAGA people would have lost their minds had Obama or Biden or Bush or Clinton or Reagan or Carter or anybody else worn a personal merchandise promoting baseball hat to the receiving of the bodies of American soldiers who died because of a war that he caused.
Yeah, and we are pro hat, clearly. I mean, we're both. This is blue hat happening here. We're
pro hat.
I mean, we're both willing to wear hats indoors.
Oh yeah.
We have both worn hats in church sanctuaries.
Oh, I preach in a hat. I'm up there like
Absolutely.
a rabbi.
Yeah, absolutely. We're pro hat.
A man of God can't preach without a head covering. Not a baseball cap at a solemn, and not a baseball cap pitching your Make America Great Again product that people can buy. I mean, it's just, okay, but here he is now at a press conference.
We're achieving major strides toward completing our military objective. And some people could say they're pretty well complete.
You've said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should Americans be prepared?
Well, I think
for
you could
this
say
war
it
to last?
both. We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further.
So is it a complete, or are we just getting started? Well, I think you could say both. I think you'd say both of those. It's fully complete, but then we're going to go further, we could say, and we are going to go further, but it's already a success, and it could be we've achieved our military objectives. What are those military objectives? We don't talk about what our military objectives are. And again, this is a man talking about what he calls our war. This is the most serious and solemn thing that we ask the executive of the executive branch to take responsibility for. And this is a man who ran a campaign where he said, if you elect her, we're going to go to war with Iran. You elect me, and it will be peace on day one. In less than a year, Donald Trump has used military action in 8 nations. 8 nations.
One of the things that I've noticed about Donald Trump is Donald Trump likes to talk about how stuff gets talked about.
Good point. He's like the most meta postmodern poet president ever. Let's just deconstruct the whole.
Yeah, we're not talking about what, the question is, you said it's,
complete.
Essential, complete. And your Secretary of War says that it's just beginning. Which is it? And rather than deal with the oh no, we are, dealing with the content of the question of what stage we are in this conflict with Iran, he moves into the rhetorical analysis of, well, we could talk about it this way. We could say it's both. We could use both. There's something, and this is a device he uses very often to keep from having to answer substantive questions, is to simply analyze the rhetoric.
Yeah, you could say, I could say, some people are saying, we have said.
these, the words like, nobody's ever heard the word grocery before.
All right. I just really wanted to share that.
And meanwhile,
Donald Trump lies to himself and we all get sucked into it. And meanwhile, Christy Nome.
Well, I was going to say, meanwhile, human lives are at stake.
Yeah. Yes.
The lives of American soldiers, the lives of the Iranian people, innocent Iranian people, like the girls whose school was destroyed and were killed. The lives of people in other parts of the world who are, whose hotels are being bombed in Dubai and other places. Donald Trump has not made us more safe.
I was a guest preacher at a church on Sunday and had to do some other responsibilities that the preacher often does, like the prayers of the people. And one of the prayers that somebody sent up and I had to read was praying for a member of the family who is in Doha and can't get out and is fearful every day that, as Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says, one might get through.
Yeah.
Donald Trump was asked, to your point about people dying, Rob, he was asked if the American people should fear that they could die in the United States because of some kind of a terror-like attack here in the United States. And I want to share that with you. What his unbelievable, unserious, terrible response was. This is in Newsweek. Iran retaliated with missile and drone bombardments against U.S. bases in allied territories, targeting military facilities across the Gulf, including in Qatar. One Iranian drone killed 6 American servicemen, members of the U.S. Command Center in Kuwait. Asked whether Americans should worry about retaliatory attacks at home, Trump acknowledged the possibility. I guess, he said to the question, should we be concerned about retaliatory attacks at home? I guess, but I think we're always worried about that all the time. We think about it all the time. We plan for it. But yeah, we expect some things. Like I said, some people will die. When you go to war, some people will die. Should the American people be afraid of an attack at home? Yeah, I guess. But we should always be worried about that. You go to war, some people are going to die.
The craziest thing about that answer from Donald Trump is the fact that he answered the question.
Yeah. Yes.
I remember back to when he was president in his first term and was asked about people being scared of COVID.
Yes.
And his response was, again, analyzing the rhetoric, that's a nasty question.
You're a terrible reporter.
Yeah.
What do you say to Americans who are afraid? You're a terrible reporter. And now he said, oh, yeah, no, get ready. People are going to die. I guess, whatever,
Yeah, I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm literally shocked he answered the question.
Yeah, he
and
doesn't
revealed
care
what his true attitude is.
anymore. Now, I bet he answered the question because it was in a one-on-one or a small group interview with a reporter, recording it, not just on television standing in front of people. He was just embarrassed that someone would ask that question in front of people. A moral person doesn't distinguish the nationality or the country of residence of people who are killed by direct actions of other people.
Yeah.
Not a moral person doesn't do that. A moral person, even in a war, grieves over the death of every human being caused by your actions or the actions of your military or the actions of your country. That's what a moral person does. You don't say 7 people have died because we're only counting American service members. A couple thousand people already have died.
Yeah.
And when you say the innocents versus the non-innocents, that might be a war term. You know what that's not? A moral term.
Yeah.
You don't distinguish between the innocent and the non-innocent when you're using deadly lethal force. They are human beings who are dying. It makes it worse when we know it's school children. When there's a school of girls in Iran whose families for the rest of their lives will remember when the United States and Israel bombed their children's school. Just think of what you would want the American government to do if Iran bombed a school.
Well, I'm not so sure that the death of school children is enough to motivate American politicians to do anything.
I think Carol is now, imagine quoting Donald Trump. I guess.
You don't think
whatever,
Carol's off
excuse me, I have
to
go
play
a
some
round
golf?
of golf now. Well said, Carol.
Okay, listen. So
That's pretty much what he says.
yeah. The terrible death of human beings and the terrible death of a dog shot and killed by former Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Doug, I think, going back, we made some predictions on this podcast.
Yeah.
And I
Call us to account, friends.
I need to look them up. I need to find. I can't remember where I made my list.
Check your chats at GPT.
No, I didn't use chat. I can't remember if I did it in Evernote or if I did it in as a Google Doc, and then if I did it as a Google Doc, which Google Doc account was it in? All of that stuff.
It's just so much.
I think, pretty sure, I predicted that we would have significant, major members of the Trump administration and his cabinet exiting.
Yeah,
and I think I might have even mentioned Kristi Noem.
I think we both picked Kristi Noem as I didn't think she would make it through the calendar year of 2025. She was so terrible, so profoundly terrible at her job. And then it turns out she wasn't fired because she was terrible at her job. She wasn't fired because of what she said about American citizens killed by federal agents. She wasn't even fired for spending $200 million on an ad campaign that featured her.
Oh,
She was
the real
fired
reason why she is fired
because
is because
lied.
she was bad on TV.
Is because she said she blamed Donald Trump for the decision she made. When she was asked by Senator Kennedy, did President Trump know you were going to spend $200 million on an ad campaign and $100 million in the way you did? She said, yes, he did. Kennedy called Trump and asked him, and Trump was furious and said that night, I'm going to fire her. Not death, not incompetence, just making him look bad.
All right. I found my predictions. Number 5, 3 high-profile cabinet members don't make it until summer. Kristi Noem, first name on the list. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, RFK Jr.
Yeah.
One down, 2 to go.
They're all going to go. I think Trump really worked hard to not get rid of any of his secretaries because he had such a chaotic first term and was losing those people. Yes. I think it really meant a lot to him. And again, his commitment has been to never have someone who's more competent in their job than he is in his. So he has to hire people who are profoundly incapable of performing their duties. So he's not the worst person at his job at any cabinet meeting. And he found someone. He's picked a guy, former MMA fighter, a senator from Oklahoma, who in a senatorial committee meeting challenged to fight an American citizen.
Mark Wayne.
Just
this guy.
Thinkable. The dangerous level, the clown show of this thing is just so profoundly startling how bad these people are. But Christine, look, it means a lot to us in Minneapolis, I will tell you. Bovino, who oversaw the ICE operations in town here, being basically fired, sent back to Border Patrol in California, demoted and humiliated, and Kristi Noem being demoted and humiliated, means a lot to those of us here. Does it mean they're going to be replaced by somebody worse? Likely, but that's not the only thing we can do. We cannot get rid of Donald Trump's administration yet because the majority of people on Election Day voted for the man. So we are stuck with him until January 2029. But that doesn't mean that every person who behaves badly shouldn't face the consequences.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, hey, Kristi Noem,
the dog killer, bragging about it in her book.
I would love to say thanks for your service and, good luck on your best and your future endeavors. But yeah.
He said in a blabby blab that he does on his failing social media, lost $12 million last year website, that she was going to be taking on the role of special envoy for the Shield of North America or some nonsense that they were announcing on Saturday. Do you know, Rob, did they announce it? Can you I don't know, Yabbits search that? Did they do an announcement of a shield of the hemisphere or a shield?
Yes.
Okay, and she's the
Shield of the Americas, I think it's called.
When the guy running the failing car company and battery company took over parts of the federal government and started firing people for waste and abuse.
Yeah.
Didn't you think that would mean that somebody who's removed from a job wouldn't then have another job created for them? Why are we making new jobs in an administration that's getting rid of the waste?
Yeah, the Shield of the Americas, which has a whole, its own graphic and logo and everything, very similar to the Board of Peace. The Shield of the Americas is a multinational military cooperation initiative established by U.S. President Donald Trump during a summit with leaders from countries around the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah, okay.
The program is intended to coordinate military and security efforts among participating nations to combat transnational criminal organizations, particularly drug cartels. I'm looking, I really want the member nations. Here we go. Participating countries. Argentina. And listen, this is
you can't even get going on the list without having to say no.
Listen, I don't say this as an insult, as a critique of any of these countries. Doug, I want you to stop me.
Okay.
When I name a world military power.
Okay. So the Shield of the Northern Hemisphere, which by the way, I mean, great phrase.
The Western Hemisphere. The Shield of the Americas.
Of the Americas, the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, this is the kind of thing you want. It's like the Justice League. Remember the Justice League?
Totally.
And yes, Aquaman's in there. But so is Superman and Batman and
okay.
You got some powers.
Oh boy.
And then
Batman.
there's
Batman. He's got a lot of real powers.
Yeah. Well,
he doesn't even have superhuman powers.
Yes.
He's just a rich guy.
You know what I mean?
invent stuff.
You got some superheroes with some gravitas. Green Lantern.
Okay.
Always my favorite superhero, Green Lantern.
Wow. Okay.
So stop me when I name
all right.
world military power.
Okay, this is the shield of the Americas.
Argentina.
Uh-huh.
Bolivia. Costa Rica. Dominican Republic. Ecuador. El Salvador. Guyana. Honduras. Panama. Paraguay. Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, when I think, like, who's going to stand with us against the Chinese? I think Trinidad and Tobago and the United States. Canada, Mexico, Brazil, Venezuela, and Colombia were notably absent from the summit and did not participate.
Special envoy. Now, look, that sounds like a great list.
Vacation spots?
Of vacation spots. That's what I was going to say. Like, look, if you're making up a list of where should we go to celebrate our 35th wedding anniversary, that is a starter list there, baby. That's fantastic. So here's a question for us. Why does Kristi Noem...
The Dominicans really nice this time of year.
Do we really need more government bureaucracy? So they've created a new globalist government.
This is the second globalist organization that Donald Trump has founded.
Yeah.
First, the Board of Peace, which included dictators, and now the Shield of the Americas, which is basically a Justice League of Aquamen.
I don't know what you have against Aquaman. I think he's cool. Guy can talk to fish and whales. It's a great
the Wonder Kids, Wonder Kid power activate.
Form of, and one would be a bird or something, and one would be a water source.
Yes,
Wonder Twins.
Yeah.
Hey, why would Kristi Noem continue to have a plush job like this, where she could be like, "Hey, let's have a meeting in Trinidad. Let's have a meeting in Costa Rica. Let's have a meeting in."
And is she taking Corey Lewandowski with her?
Yeah, her sex puppy. Is she taking that guy with her, or is her husband going to travel with her? I don't know. You know, when she was asked in a meeting last week by a member of Congress, in your current, while you've been in your current role, have you had sexual actions with a subordinate named Corey Lewandowski?
While her husband was sitting behind her.
And the answer was not no. The answer was, I can't believe you would ask me that question. And then the person said, could you give an answer? And she never said no. And here's the reason she didn't say no, because if you lie in that context, that's a crime.
Yeah.
Now, should people care if the head of the Department of Homeland Security is in a sexual relationship with a subordinate? Yes.
Yeah.
Does that disqualify the person from being the special envoy to the Shield of the Americas? Yes. Why does she have this job? Because Donald Trump is using federal money to keep her quiet. You know how long she's going to be in that job? Enough time to negotiate a contract to be on Fox News. That's how long. She thought she could lobby being the director of Homeland Security into a presidential run. Then she was humiliated by other Republicans. She was demoted by Donald Trump, and she was given an insulting job title. She already wrote her book, and in it she thought she should brag about why she killed a dog as a leadership lesson. And reportedly, Donald Trump said, I can't have her be my vice president, but that seems like a good role for Homeland Security. the puppy killer, a 14-month-old retriever.
Ah, boy.
We have a mutual friend who went to church with her for a long time. She was an avid churchgoer, leader, youth group leader, devout Christian in her public persona. Does that mean devout Christians don't have affairs? No, they do all the time. Does it mean they don't kill dogs? They kill dogs all the time. Does it mean they don't lie? No, they lie all the time. But usually when someone then is public about all of that, they stop talking about the fact that their faith is what compels them. And they make apology. And they talk about how they're going to find alignment in their lived actions with their core beliefs. May Kristi Noem go do that. Oh,
Speaking of Donald Trump choosing people who end up making his life more difficult, Doug, Donald Trump this is from Yahoo News. Donald Trump praised a young California state assemblyman 4 years ago as a MAGA champion, helping launch him into Congress. Now that same politician has abandoned the Republican Party.
really?
Representative Kevin Kiley of California said Monday that he was immediately leaving the Republican Party to become an independent during a phone call with reporters. The 41-year-old described his switch as stemming from frustration with partisanship itself.
Wow.
The California lawmaker, who is up for re-election this year, also refused to commit to being a reliable vote for House Speaker Mike Johnson until the term ends. I don't know if he would tell you that I've been so far, Kiley said, according to Axios. He will...
So he's a congressman now?
Yes.
Okay.
And he's running for re-election. He is filing his no party preference in California as he runs for re-election.
Okay.
He's blaming it all on partisanship, the hyper partisanship in Congress. So it's not necessarily a shift in ideas or principles, but it's much more seems like a tactical thing.
Okay. Yeah. I think he's reading the proverbial tea leaves.
Yeah.
Here that he's going to lose his reelection bid if he tries to run as a Republican.
But it just makes it increasingly more difficult for Mike Johnson to lead in the House of Representatives, which is why,
if as an independent, he actually doesn't caucus with the Republicans.
Right. And there's a headline on the Drudge Report today from a MSN article that is, in Trump's Washington, Congress matters less than ever.
Yeah.
And
because he's just executive order prone on everything.
Yeah. And this move by Kevin Kiley in California to become an independent, continues to further weaken one of the weakest House speakers in American history.
Yeah.
And, Mike Johnson, his really difficult job is now even more difficult because the margin, he's only got a 1 vote majority.
Yep.
And that's if everybody's there and voting. He can't lose anybody.
No, and they could use that reconciliation business and just bring him to his knees over and over and over again. And this is where, over the next 6 months, we need Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader, to figure out how to take power.
Yes.
From the posture of the minority.
Yes, do it.
Hey, one more piece of news I saw this week, Rob.
Yeah. Oh,
A man pardoned by Donald Trump for his role in the January 6th Capitol attack was sentenced to life in prison for child molestation and related crimes. Andrew Paul Johnson was arrested in August, 9 months after Trump pardoned him for the January 6th activities. He's 45 and was convicted last month of 5 charges, including molesting a child under 12 and another under 16, as well as transmitting harmful materials by electronic device to a minor. The people Donald Trump pardons are the child molesters. Now, will he pardon him for that crime? You know what Donald Trump has to say about that?
Nothing.
Nothing. Do you remember when Willie Horton was brought into public consciousness?
Yeah.
Because
Willie
there was
Horton. So for people that might not remember, back in 1988, when George H.W. Bush was running for president after having served as vice president, he was running against Michael Dukakis, who is the governor of Massachusetts. It's a Democratic candidate for president. Willie Horton was someone who had been furloughed through a prison furlough program in Massachusetts, who ended up committing rape and murder, I believe, while he was out on furlough. And a guy named Lee Atwater, who was running George H.W. Bush's campaign, created a TV commercial about Willie Horton, and it absolutely changed the election, and made it possible for George H.W. Bush to win the presidency, because it pinned the crimes committed by Willie Horton on the person responsible for his furlough,
for his freedom,
which was the governor of Massachusetts, Michael Dukakis, who signed that furlough program into law.
Lee Atwater is famous for having said something like, I think this is the quote, at least the quote as I remember it, speaking about Mike Dukakis, Lee Atwater being the person who was running the campaign for Bush Sr., said about Dukakis, "I'm going to strip the bark off the little bastard and make Willie Horton his running mate." And he did. Because the American people don't like it when it feels like their political leaders end up on the side of people who do horrible things. The list of people who Donald Trump pardoned for January 6th, crimes that they were convicted of for beating police officers, rather than backing the blue, he freed them, and so many of them have been rearrested on crimes they have then committed after being pardoned, including child molestation. That's our president. I think somebody should make this guy Trump's vice president in their minds. Because he's sure not doing anything about the Epstein files. He's not doing anything about his other buddies who are also involved in crimes against children. It's almost like around the globe, children are not safe when Donald Trump is president.
Or when Donald Trump's around. Not safe if he's in the room with you. Not safe if he's president.
And again,
where are you going with that, Doug? That was a fun pregnant pause.
That was a Kramer. This administration has also accomplished nothing.
Yeah.
They extended tax cuts and then have taxed the American people on every purchase, have harmed health care, have raised prices, have freed convicted criminals, have started wars. And honestly, Rob, I know that Donald Trump doesn't make campaign promises. He only says things to get elected. He doesn't make promises as president to what he's going to do. He just says things to move on to the next conversation. He is a man who lacks the ability to promise anything because he doesn't care what he says.
Yep.
All of that is true. But the people who voted for him, they really did believe that he was going to keep us out of wars, bring down the price of eggs and gas, stop inflation, increase jobs, bring work back to America, punish criminals. They really, really did believe that. Close the border, deport the worst of the worst. Then they find out he's been arresting American citizens and people here legally, has had less deportations out of the country in his time in this term than Biden did in this amount of time in his term. 8 military actions, unemployment rate up, job losses at all-time high. Biden was adding 200,000 jobs a month. Trump lost 92,000 jobs last month. That's 300,000 less jobs in a month created. No one month has Donald Trump's administration had more job gains than any given month of Biden's administration.
Yeah, and all of this, and you didn't mention, Doug, one of the biggest triggers in our economy, which is directly impacted by Donald Trump, and that is increase gas prices. The trickle of the trickle effect of gas price increases is so much. It's not just filling up our Nissan Rogue. You know,
Did you buy a
said to
Rogue?
Vanessa yesterday, I'm like, hey, do you want to take my Nissan Leaf to work so we don't use any gas? Like, we're already having those conversations.
Really?
Yeah. Gas prices are up. We're almost above $3 here in Arkansas. It's like $3.90 or $2.99.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was back in 2008 when we were told that $4 gas, we would never see below $4 gas again. So I was a little confused there.
Gas prices are going up, and they will continue to. The oil is used in so many
things. Yes.
For so many things. If it's more expensive, everything will be more expensive. If gas is more expensive, that means it's more expensive to move everything. The product you get from your Target or your Walmart, it becomes more expensive to get that thing on the shelf. If it's more expensive to get that thing on the shelf, it's going to be more expensive for you to buy it.
Yes. And the only people making the more money off that are the oil and gas producers.
Right.
And they may not be people in the United States.
It trickles up to them, yes. And so what Donald Trump has done is, instead of addressing this absolutely critical issue for the American people, he has simply taken steps that will only make it worse. And listen, there are things that trigger the American people. There are things that shift public opinion, and gas prices is one of them.
School kids dying. Maybe.
Price of gas up 25 cents a gallon. Oh yeah.
God, it's heartbreaking. Look, you could run the rewind button on 30 podcasts we have done together where I have made the argument, the one thing the President of the United States does not control is the price of gas.
Right.
It's fundamentally true. The only exception is
when he bombs Iran.
A president of the United States bombs an oil producer in the Middle East and then shuts down transportation of oil around the world.
Yep.
The one thing a president can do to influence gas prices,
He did.
He did it.
He did it. Yeah.
I'm not saying he
It's
did it just
almost
to spite
like
some low rent podcaster.
Good at the job.
God, it's just, hey, here's another thing that they did. Because oil prices got so bad, you know what they had to do? They had to lift sanctions against who? Russia, so that India could buy oil from Russia, which now is going to give Russia a whole bunch more money. Do you know who Russia supports in the Iran-American war? Iran. So in order to keep a global crisis, they've had to fund Russia to use that money against Ukraine and to support Iran. I mean, it is so insane. And then for Donald Trump to say the American people are glad to pay more at the pump for the outcome in Iran. We don't even know what the outcome in Iran is. And no one is willing to pay more money for anything so you could bomb Iran because Lindsey Graham and Benjamin Netanyahu told you to. You know, this week he was asked if it's true what Marco Rubio said. When Marco Rubio said, the reason we had to go into Iran when we did is we knew that Israel was going to bomb Iran, and we knew that they were going to counter by bombing our military bases. So we had to stop their attack on U.S. military bases after they were attacked by getting in on the first attack. Okay, it's bedazzlingly stupid because apparently they can't tell Israel what to do. So in order to protect ourselves from the retaliation, we had to become part of the first attack to obliterate their ability to respond. And that's what they say was they were going to attack us within a week. Crazy talk. When Donald Trump was asked, did Israel force your hand? Donald Trump said, oh no, if anything, we forced their hand. He can't even let himself be seen for who he is, a small-minded man being manipulated by Benjamin Netanyahu. So he had to say to the American people, no, we made them do a thing we didn't want them to do, and then we joined them in doing it because Iran was going to retaliate when they did the thing first, but then it became our idea that we forced the... And somehow he actually thinks Benjamin Netanyahu didn't trick me into doing it.
Well, that's what he's told himself. And coming full circle,
he did.
He lies to himself.
Because the government of Israel is a criminal occupying force in Gaza and is a criminal actor on the international scene. And Donald Trump joined them just months after he pardoned the criminal president from Nicaragua and pardoned a child molester to commit more crimes against children. It just, at what point do we all join Marjorie Taylor Greene, who I sent you that clip? It was a little bit long. I know it was like 45 seconds, so you probably didn't have a chance to watch it on your phone. But Marjorie Taylor Greene this week on Megyn Kelly's show just went off. Like that person, she has decided.
Yeah.
She is just like this guy. And her constant refrain is, what happened to the guy? And like, nothing happened to him, sweetie.
Yeah. Yeah.
The scales fell off your eyes and you are now seeing the truth. He didn't change one bit.
Right.
No one changed him. There's this video that I've shown a lot of times. It's called The Invisible Gorilla.
Oh, I
Video.
love yes, you showed it to me and I absolutely love it.
Did it work? Did it work on you? And
Yeah.
so for
Yeah.
people that don't know, the Invisible Gorilla is it's a perception video, and it's short. It's about a minute
It's on
long.
YouTube.
I won't
It's
yeah,
on
you should
YouTube.
go watch it on YouTube. And I'm going to spoil it for you right now, but it's a group of people wearing white t-shirts and 3 people wearing black t-shirts, so 3 of each. And they're passing basketballs back and forth between white t-shirt people and black t-shirt people to each other, and they're weaving in and out of each other in a very simple video. And in the middle of it, a person in a gorilla outfit comes walking through the middle, stops in the center of it, does a little dance, and walks out. And when you're showing the video to people, you say to them, count the number of times people wearing white shirts pass the basketball. And it's 17 very slow passes that they make to each other. And because people now are paying attention to a video and they're not wanting to watch the black t-shirt people, they're wanting to watch the white t-shirt people, they very often don't see the gorilla, the full-sized person in a gorilla outfit, or a real gorilla, it's hard to tell, walk into the middle of the scene, do a little dance, and walk out. And when you show it to them a second time, and we do this to groups very often, after saying, did you see the gorilla in the middle of the video? And people are like, there was no gorilla in the middle of the video. And you show it to them again, the number of responses that people give, which include like, I can't believe I didn't see that, and the question, is that really the same video?
Yeah.
When I showed it to my wife first, she didn't see the gorilla. When I showed it to her a second time, she said to me, that's not the same video. So this has happened in groups where people will say like, that's not the same video. And the person sitting next to him is like, oh yeah, it is. I saw the gorilla the first time. They're like, no, you couldn't. Like that thing that happens, it's powerful because perception is so important to the human experience. Marjorie Taylor Greene and so many other people
I've seen the gorilla.
have seen the gorilla. And they're trying to say that's not what he was before. Now, why do we all know that to be true, those of us who are so frustrated with Donald Trump? Because some of us ran into that after this election, the last presidential election. We looked back and said to ourselves, oh my gosh, those 4 years really were enough to make millions of people say no to Democrats and yes to someone like Donald Trump. And that is a common good message we have to learn.
Yeah.
We had to look at our own situation and say, it just missed in connecting with the heart of so many people in this country.
Yeah.
So rather than only being frustrated at each other and only saying like, how could they, I don't know, a little bit of empathy, like, yep, people don't see, and then they do. In other words, to quote the old spiritual, I was blind, and now I see.
Yeah. All right.
Shall we pass the plate? Sing
Yeah.
one more hymn, and then we'll go?
Yep. Every
I
head
used to-
bowed,
I
every
used to-
eye closed.
I used to get to say that as a, okay. Hey, let's just go back and see any. Thanks, Alex. Thanks at Reginald Johnson 8092. By the way,
Peggy
YouTube now
was with
only
us.
shows us their people's real signed-in names.
Jones, thanks for being with us. Carol.
Okay, so Joan Siri says that we're giving him too much credit because he can't even do self-reflection enough to know he's lying to himself. That might actually be true.
Hey, Bitcoiner 500.
Ooh.
Thanks for being here.
Bitcoiner. We got a Bitcoiner?
Got a Bitcoiner
Oh,
who said only fools follow Donald Trump.
only fools fall in love. That's a
Wise
good
men
point,
say.
though. All right. Anything else?
Bang was with us. Inked Grace.
Hey, Rob, during our conversation here, our guest that we're going to be interviewing in a little while, in an hour, was trying to get in at 10 o'clock Central Time. So
Yeah, and I got an email from her saying, whoops, I see it's because we're meeting in 2 hours. Wrong time
Okay.
zone
All right.
issue again.
Good. Should we preview that for people to know that what's going on
we've
behind
started
the scenes?
this little segment as part of the podcast where we talk to do-gooders, people that are doing good in the world, and up to really interesting things. And so we're going to be talking to Kiera Havens, who has started a grassroots citizens movement to get Donald Trump impeached. And
the one thing Democrats have been hollering, don't do that. She's like, no, we're going to do that. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So we're going to talk to her.
It is the one thing the peoples can do.
Yeah. And so we're going to talk to her, and then it will be a part of next week's podcast. You'll be able to hear our conversation. So if you wonder why we're wearing the same clothes next week, it will be because we're going to be talking to Kiera.
Maybe we could change clothes. My wife says 3 days in a row with the same clothes. It's maybe time to change. So it's probably my day to change up the clothes. So like they used to say on old serial television. Next week on the Common Good podcast.
That's right.
We'll have a common gooder. All right, Rob. Anything big happening in the campaign people need to know about?
Hey, listen,
Lucia.
Would love a campaign donation from you.
He's just cutting straight to it.
Just flat out need money.
Just
give me
money.
I need money. I'm running against a guy with millions of dollars, and I need money.
Money.
Mm-hmm. You can go to robforcongress.com, ROBB, congress.com, and smash that donate button. And then after you do that, go to votecommongood.com and smash that donate button.
Hey, let me ask you this, Rob. What does a candidate like you spend that money
on? Right now, it's my very small team of staff people.
Okay.
But eventually it will be on signs, literature to hand out, advertising,
getting your name out there, introducing people, meeting people. It takes a lot just to organize. You go all around Arkansas. You're meeting with all the different groups. You're traveling. People have to coordinate all that. That all costs money. So when you give money to Rob, the money is just a vehicle to fund a vehicle and to fund a sign and to fund the rest of it.
Yeah. There's four things that get us around Arkansas.
For that. That's right. 4 things that get us around. I wanted to tell that same story about when the guy came to sell me an air conditioner, and he was telling me about what kind of all the different compressors in the air conditioners. I was like, I just want cool air. Like the air conditioner is a mechanism to get me the thing I want. Rob doesn't actually want only your money. He's not going to keep it. It's going to be turned into, it's alchemy. It gets turned into something else. So, and if there was any other way to do that, Rob would be asking you for that. Yeah. Fair enough. Is that fair? Is that a fair 100%. Money pitch?
100%. Yeah.
All right. Rob, so, 2Bs for Congress.
Be back with us next week.
Yeah. I'm traveling next Tuesday. Okay, sometime next week.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we may have to squeeze something earlier.
We might just show the interview with Kiera next week.
Maybe let me see what time I'm leaving. Maybe we could do the podcast in the morning and then travel in the afternoon. I don't know. I have to look. All right.
Where are you off to?
Feels like so far, so long from now.
Where are you going?
Next week, I'm going to our southern office.
Oh, fantastic.
Down in Southwest Florida. Yeah. 2 days of it is a grandson trip. Nice. And then I'm going to stay there. And why not work from there?
Seriously. Yes.
It's March in Minnesota.
Yes.
Why not work from? Why not work from there? And there's just a lot less house chores to do. So after the work time, you just life's pretty simple.
Alex, you're so sweet. Thank you. Thank you for.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Alex, well, let's just keep this going. Let's just turn this into a telethon of a fundraiser. Alex, we see that hand. Reginald, let's get you going over to robforcongress.com. Lucia, I know Lucia will do it. There's no doubt
calling
about that.
People out by name.
Jim, yeah. Hey, thanks to all of you for being on, and we'd love to have you head over to robforcongress.com. All right. Maybe I'll go donate to you today.
Oh.
But then I don't want to get a bunch of text messages from you, so I don't know what to do about that.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
you already get text messages from
I know
me.
I do.
But
For
they're,
free.
you know, I
I'm
mean,
getting
not that you
them.
read
Why
them.
buy the cow, Rob? I'm already getting the milk for free. All right. We
Yeah,
done?
but you get the text messages I actually write.
Really? Well, let's talk about that then, because I guess that's some editorial input. No, I don't. I don't read political text messages that I get. So.
Well, my point is that I don't write my political text messages.
I see. When I see that number come up that tells me it's a thing, or when I get the little preview deal on my phone that says, like it summarizes it, I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. And we send them too, so I don't know.
Yeah,